welcome back. I hope you're ready for a great day.
I know I am.
Yep. Hey, I wondered if any of you have ever seen a 3D movie.
Oh, I love 3D movies. It's like you're a part of the action. But when you go to a 3D movie, you just can't wear any old glasses. Like, say, these cool sunglasses of mine. If I wore these glasses to a 3D movie, everything I would be seeing would be blurry and confusing. You know, I'd be seeing the same movie that everybody else was watching, but I wouldn't be seeing it right.
You know, that's correct. And to see life in the right view, you have to have on something called Bible glasses, because everybody looks at life through something called a worldview. A worldview is simply your view of the world. Okay. I mean, we all start out with the same facts, but we kind of interpret them differently depending on our worldview. And so we want to make sure we have on our Bible glasses. Now, when I say Bible glasses, I don't really mean real glasses, Mr. Matt, like your cool glasses, or even my glasses that I can see out of. I just mean that you take the Bible and you filter everything you think and learn about through what God's Word says, because if God's Word says it, it's true.
That's right. Now, yesterday, we took a look at how, this whole world was created in 6 days. And the people who believe that, the scientists who believe that, they're called biblical creationists.
Right. But if you're not starting with God's Word, you might have a different view, man's view of how things came about. And the people that believe that are called evolutionists. This became very popular by a man named Charles Darwin when they believed that things just happened, as we've been talking about, randomly by chance. So to hear more about this view called evolution, we have a special guest with us today called Dr. I Know It All.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Dr. I Know It All, and I am a world-famous scientist and really smart guy. And I'm here today to share a little bit about what I believe. Well, to start, did you know that everyone and everything just happened to turn out the way it is over millions and billions of years of time? There was absolutely no plan or design or thought to anyone or anything. That means that you're all just really a big accident.
All right, let's put on our Bible glasses and see if we agree with Dr. I Know It All. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you think everything just so happened. I hope you said thumbs down, because of course with our Bible glasses we know God made everything, right? We talked about that yesterday. I mean, can you imagine if you took something like a computer and all of a sudden it just happened? No, it took somebody really smart, maybe like a Dr. I Know It All, to make that computer. We can be so appreciative and thank them for all the contributions they've made, but we know that God is the one who made all the living things. Let me give you a couple examples. Let's take the giraffe, for instance. Of course, it's the tallest animal on earth. Now, because it's so tall, it needed a really special neck. I mean, when you look at our necks, they're really short. Go ahead and kind of see how long your neck is, okay? It's nothing like a giraffe, right? All right, but I want you to try to bend over right now. Go ahead and try to bend over. Are you having any problems bending over? Probably not, right? But a giraffe could have a lot of trouble bending over because it's got such a long neck. It would just fall over, right? And really the blood would rush down its neck so fast whenever it was bending over that it would just blow its brains out. Except that God gave it something like these little sponges all the way in its neck so that it kind of allows the blood flow to be regulated so it's not too much blood and it doesn't go all to its head. So that's a really cool thing. Now, I want you to stand very straight and try to bend over. And then I want you to open your legs kind of like an upside down V, like this, okay? And try to bend over. You have a little bit more stability when your legs are in a V like this. And God designed the giraffe to do that very thing. It opens its legs up a little bit in a V and it bends over, and that's just one more way God designed it so it wouldn't fall over. All right, I need everybody to make a fist right now. That's about the size of your heart. And if you take your 2 fingers and you put it right about here, you might be able to hear or feel your pulse. That's your heart beating. Or you can also put it up here. You've got an artery up here. And sometimes you can feel it up here with your, especially if you jog a second and then you do it, you can usually feel it beating right about there, okay? You could kind of take your pulse. Well, a giraffe is so tall with such a big, long neck, as we talked about, it needs a lot bigger heart than we have. I want to show you about how big a giraffe's heart is. It's about 2 feet across. Can you believe that? And about 25 pounds. That's the size of about a toddler. So if you have somebody in your house that's around maybe 2-ish, they might be 25 or so pounds. That's how big a giraffe's heart is. God gave them that big heart so that they'd be able to pump all that blood that they need up and down their long neck. All right, I want you to act like you're dizzy. Maybe you even want to turn around for a second. Woo, you're dizzy. Well, you know, giraffes would be very dizzy. They could even die if God hadn't given them some special bones in their neck. They have 7 bones in their neck that help them to very safely lower and raise their neck so that they don't get dizzy and they don't die. God thinks of everything. Okay, everybody, I need to see your tongue. You know, we don't have very long tongues, but giraffes, of course, needed really long tongues. Their tongues are about 18 to 20 inches, maybe something like that. You can get a ruler and figure that out for yourself. That's a long tongue, but of course, God would know they have a long neck, so he gave them a long tongue. Now, all these things together make the giraffe able to survive. And God knew the giraffe would need every one of these things. You can't just evolve. He could not have just maybe had the tongue starting to happen or the neck bones starting to form or something else like that. No, it all had to be there from the beginning or none of it would have worked and the giraffe would have died. That's the way it is with every animal. Let's check out another one. So let's try tiny insects. You may think that they're simple little creatures, but really God made them absolutely amazing. Every insect is so unique and so cool. And really that little speck of a brain is quite amazing. Let's take ants, for instance. The most brilliant computer programmers can't even figure out how they do their supply routes. They go back and forth to get food and deliver food, and they do it in the shortest routes. How do they know how to do that? Because God programmed them to do that. Engineers study them to try to figure it out because it's so amazing. But of course, God created them, and God thought of everything. Bees have an amazing social network. I mean, you know how we have things like Facebook that we can network with other people? Well, theirs blows ours away. It's incredible because God designed them that way. And how about butterflies? They fly really long distances and they come back to the exact spot where they left. How do they know how to do that? Because God programmed them that way. Okay, so let's see if you agree with Dr. I Know It All and thinks plants and animals just so happen. If you think he's right, I want you to stand up. If you think God made it all, I want you to stand up and turn around.
Well, I believe the world is millions and billions of years old, just like all the books in the library say.
Nod your head if you have ever heard something like that about the earth being millions or billions of years old. I bet you all nodded. Well, you know, you hear that all the time. So I want you to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you agree with Dr. I Know It All. I I hope you gave him a thumbs down because we know that doesn't line up with God's word. How many days did it say that it took for creation to come about? God made it all in 6 days. So you really have to beware when you're hearing things about millions and billions of years because that doesn't line up with God's word. And we know God cannot lie. So God's word is true. And you always want to have those Bible glasses on and listen to God's word. But you know what? It's not even good science. The Bible and science do agree. Now, scientists have based this whole idea of millions and billions of years on some dating methods they've come up with. And these are not always accurate. For instance, we know that there was a volcano in the state of Washington, 30 some years ago, and it was called Mount St. Helens. In fact, I was just there a year or so ago. It's really cool. And it was just a normal mountain. But then one day it blew its top because it was really a volcano. And we saw what happened after that. It was amazing, all the different things that happened. But what was interesting was the scientists were trying to date how old the rock was, the volcanic rock. Now we know that it was only 30 some years old because we watched it blow up. And we know that's what happened with the rock. But it came back that it was 2.8 million years old. This has happened many other places. This happened with a volcano in New Zealand as well. All kinds of different places where the dating methods have not been right. But they base the millions of years on those dating methods. So again, you just have to beware. Now, let's try this. Again, stand up if you agree still with Dr. I Know It All that it took millions and billions of years. But if you agree with God's word, I want you to stand up and turn around.
Well, did you know that man and animals have many similar features? So for this, maybe you can grab yourselves a marker, a pencil, or a pen, and some paper, and you can draw a monkey along with me so I can show you how monkeys and man have very similar features, okay? So grab your pen, grab your paper, and here we go. We're going to begin with almost a full circle here at the bottom, not completely, and then on top of that, a heart-like shape. Starting there, we're going to go up, make the top of our heart, and then come back down. Excellent. And then we're going to start here, and we're going to begin with another almost full circle on the top. Now you're beginning to see the monkey come together. Now just a few more things. A little line there, a little curved line there, and two small curved lines there, and a happy little smile. You're seeing the nose form and the mouth form. Now only a few features left. Let's put a couple of cute little ears on the side. And the final thing we're going to draw are the monkey's eyes. So just two dark circles right there for the monkey's eyes. And you see this beautiful monkey that I've created, and you've probably created one too. Well, the last thing we drew were the monkey's eyes. Did you know that ape-like creatures have very similar eyes to human eyes? And many other animals have similar eyes to man's eyes as well. Did you also know that our arms and our forelimbs are very similar to those of ape-like creatures? Yes. And this all goes to prove that man evolved from ape-like creatures. The ape-like creatures came first and over a long period of time evolved into man.
So nod your head if you have ever heard of something like that about people coming from ape-like creatures. I bet you have. All right, let's see a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Do you agree with Dr. I Know It All that people did start out as ape-like creatures? Well, again, I hope you gave him a thumbs down. Because just because we have some similar features, and we do, that doesn't mean we came from ape-like creatures. I mean, that would mean that your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was an ape-like creature, right? I don't think so. God made man in his image. And so instead of thinking that we have these common features, but God didn't make them, let's think of it this way. We have some common features because we have a common designer, God. He made animals and he made people. So we do have some things in common. We both have eyes. We both have a mouth. All kinds of things like that. But that doesn't mean that we are animals and that we came from animals. Not at all. We are made in God's image. We are precious. In fact, you sitting right there, right now, God perfectly created you and crafted you. You are special and you are not an animal. Remember that you can read, you can sing, you can do works of art, you can talk. You are special. All right, so if you still think that man came from ape-like creatures, I want you to act like an ape or a monkey, okay? Woo, woo, woo. But if you think God created you in his image and you are dearly loved, I want you to stand up and just give a salute.
Well, you haven't agreed with me yet, but listen to this one. It's exciting to think about how one animal kind changed into another animal kind over millions of years. That means that dinosaurs with reptile skin eventually turned into a bird with feathers. In fact, that's how all the different animals came to be. So this is a fancy little science word that I like to use. It's called molecules to man evolution, which means things went from stuff that wasn't even alive, like pond scum or dirt, for example, and eventually turned into simple living things and living creatures. And then it turned into complicated living things like animals and even eventually man. And the great thing is, we are still evolving. Yes, so who knows? Maybe one day we will be higher beings. Yeah, like what we see in those alien movies. Isn't that exciting?
All right, let's put our Bible glasses on again and remember Genesis 1. Now, doesn't it say that God is creating according to their kind? Right? Thumbs up. Does it say that God is still creating and isn't finished? Like Dr. I Know It All was kind of saying, like, maybe we're going to evolve into something like aliens. Thumbs up or thumbs down? No, we're not going to turn into aliens. That's not right. Now, remember, biblical creationists will say that things can change within a kind. But that's very different than molecules to man evolution that Dr. I Know It All is talking about. Check out this poster, for instance. It shows the dog kind. And within this, there can be small changes. In fact, biblical creationists call this microevolution. Micro means just tiny little changes. But that's very different than molecules to man evolution, where one kind is changing into another kind. Sort of like we mentioned, like maybe dinosaurs becoming eventually birds, or ape-like creatures eventually becoming people. That doesn't happen. Microevolution, yes. But molecules to man evolution, no. So let's see if you agree still with Dr. I Know It All. If you do, I want you to get up and pretend like you're a monkey. And if you don't, I want you again to get up and salute.
So imagine that this was the universe at the beginning. As you can see, it's just a big mess. And it started with a big bang. And everything went flying all over the place. But over millions and billions of years, all the pieces of the universe, like these bricks, all by themselves and without God, became neat and orderly. They eventually arranged into all the plants and animals and people that we see today. Yes, so things might have started out as a mess, but over time, things became better and better and better. I know it seems really hard to believe that all of this would come together and form perfect things out of a big mess, but that's exactly what happened.
Well, Dr. I Know It All said it started with disorder. Do you agree with Dr. I Know It All or disagree? Thumbs up or thumbs down? We know by putting our Bible glasses on, it came about by order. In fact, the Bible even describes God as a God of order. He made all those things in an orderly way in 6 days. Now, if you look at Genesis and put your Bible glasses on, you're going to realize things have really started out going from perfect order, where it said everything was very good, to disorder. Think about our world. It's going from that orderly to things are sort of breaking down. And now we have things like tsunamis and tornadoes and earthquakes and viruses, right? That's what's happening. It's really not getting necessarily better. It's breaking down. It's going from that perfect order to disorder. And besides that, we also know in real life, the longer things are around, the more disorderly they normally become. I mean, think about your refrigerator, for instance. If you just left all that food in there, would it just keep getting better and better and better? I don't think so. I don't want to eat all that gross, moldy stuff, do you, if it was in there all that time? Yuck! All right, so let's see whether you're with Dr. I Know It All or whether you're looking at it with your Bible glasses. So here's what I want you to do. If you're still agreeing with Dr. I Know It All, I want you to hop on your left foot. But if you are agreeing with the Bible that things went from order to disorder, I want you to hop on your right foot.
Well, before I go, I do want to say that humans without God are the ones with all the answers. Yeah, after all, it's man who invented cars and computers. It was man who came up with all the medicines and the surgeries that keep us well. It was man who put a man on the moon. Yes, man has an amazing brain, and man is the ultimate source of knowledge.
Well, we know that scientists can think up all kinds of great inventions and help us in so many ways, and we are so thankful for that. People like Dr. I Know It All and others. But we also know, as we've talked about, that people can make mistakes, right? Because we're not perfect. Only God is perfect. I want to give you just a few examples of things that really smart people thought were true at one time that aren't true anymore. All right, I need two of you watching this. One of you needs to be the sun, and one of you needs to be the earth. Now, the earth, I want you to stand in the middle of your room just real still. Whoever's the sun, I want you to go around the earth, okay? Because they used to think that the sun was going around or revolving around the earth. Now, I want you guys to switch places. I want the sun to come stand in the middle, and I want the earth to go around the sun, because scientists now know that that's the way it is. The sun is the center of the universe, and the earth is going around the sun. Take a big breath. Now, scientists used to think that this one disease called malaria happened just from breathing bad air from swamps. The word malaria means bad air. But they later realized it had nothing to do with the air. It was really from a mosquito bite. And here's one more example of something that we've learned. Scientists used to think that mercury was a really good thing for us. It made us healthy. And so they were putting it in cosmetics and ointments and other things to try to make us healthy. But we then learned it really is poisonous, and it was making people really sick. So these are just a couple of probably millions of examples of things we've learned over time. At one point we thought, the scientists thought it was one thing, then they kind of realized, oh, maybe it's something else. That's because only God really knows everything. Let's read Proverbs 1:7 together. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. Okay, so does that verse say that man is the beginning of knowledge? No. Does it say really smart college professors are the beginning of knowledge? No. Does it say the most amazing scientist ever, smartest in the whole world, is the beginning of knowledge? No. It says God is the beginning of knowledge. All right, now let's go to 1 John 3:20, and you can read it with me. It says, God is greater than our heart, and he knows everything. Who knows everything? Right. So, do you want to believe in man who isn't perfect and who wasn't there at the beginning? Or do you want to believe in God and trust him who knows everything and who has always been? All right, so here's what I want you to do. If you still want to believe with Dr. I Know It All, I want you to go to that side of the room. But if you want to trust in God's word, and remember, true science confirms God's word, but God's word is perfect. If you want to trust that and have your Bible glasses on, I want you to go to that side of the room. Now, if you want to find out more about this, check out the Answers in Genesis website, and you can go to the Answers for Kids. They have all kinds of cool stuff you can learn, more animal features, all kinds of other cool information that just show a lot more how God designed this world. And we just want to always be looking with our Bible glasses and have our worldview come from God's word. If God's word says it, that settles it.
Well, maybe I need to take a look at what the Bible says about how the world was created. Thank you for having me, and I'll see you later.
Well, thanks, Dr. I Know It All. I'm so glad that you helped us have this awesome discussion. And it just reminds us once again that we always want to ask, what does God's word say about it? All right, we're back at day 2 for our Now What segment to wrap up. I want to give you a little fun question to start us off, and here we go. Who is someone you consider to be very truthful? Pause for a second and chat about that. Okay, and next, let's again talk about what did I learn today about God, who he is, and what he has done or what he's doing. I know I might say that I learned today that God is truthful. He is truth, and that makes a big difference to me, because if I know somebody's truthful, I know I can trust them. And I also know that if God is truthful, that means I should be truthful too, because I'm made in his image. That's important for me. So what did you learn about God today? Maybe it's that, or maybe it's something different. Go ahead and pause the video for a minute and chat about that. Okay, here's our awesome activity today. Everybody together, see if you can say the memory verse. I'll give you a clue. It's John 17:17. And then once you've done that, go grab a piece of paper or a piece of cardstock and see if you can make a picture to show what that memory verse is all about, and write it down. You can post that somewhere in your bedroom or something so you can always remember that God is truthful and his word is true. All right, have fun.